Hey guys, this is Thomas Brown, and welcome to the Thomas Vision Podcast. I'm a filmmaker currently based in Atlanta, and this podcast consists of conversations with the professionals I meet along the way. What is going on, guys? This is Thomas Brown here, and welcome to the Thomas Vision Podcast. Today, I have again the great Toryn. Langford.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here with you again, Thomas, and glad to be back on the podcast.
For those of you tuning in for the first time, Toryn is amazing, talented. I'm trying to think of some great words.
Phenomenal. Exquisite Sounds Entertainment DJ. That's who I am, everybody.
He's one of the top DJs in Atlanta, and it's a pleasure to have him here again. And today we're talking about a really, really exciting topic today.
It's a good one.
And the topic is how to get along with other wedding vendors. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but there is, and it probably has always been, a big rivalry between photographers and videographers at weddings where they don't like each other, where there's, as soon as you come up and you see there's or I'm guessing like from the photographer standpoint, as soon as they get there and they see a videographer's there,
instant attitude.
Or if you have a videographer, now of course there's always going to be a photographer there, I think, pretty much. Yeah. But as a videographer, when you get there, you just hope that the photographer is easy to work with, and trust me, there's bad things on both sides.
Yeah. Well, I mean the same thing. I think a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of DJs don't like videographers.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it because we come and ask to plug into
Some don't ask.
Oh,
some don't ask.
So we are going to talk about how to get along with other vendors, but I thought it would be pretty fun just to tell some stories initially of why. So let's start with you, and let's start with the videographer things, like some stories you have.
Ah, man, I got a good story here. This is a brand new story. This is like 30 days old, I think. So just have purchased these new speakers, right? And when I say this, just have purchased these new speakers, paid a couple $1,000s for them. Speakers are all white. Okay, that's the move right now. Everybody
white gloves
got that, right? Literally have pulled these speakers out the box at this point, maybe 3 times, right? Get to a wedding. I'm at a wedding at the estate. Okay, so it's a dope venue, right? I mean, it's a really nice venue right there in Buckhead, right? Videographer, never had seen this guy before. And I mean, again, Thomas, you and I have been friends for a couple years now. I know a couple other videographers, so it's kind of, so I get it. You need a line in to record, the speeches or toasts, things like that. Some people would say, but that's not my job. Like, my job is not to provide you with that outlet, quite honestly. But it is a courtesy, though, that I should extend, though. And I just think it's a professional thing that if you're running professional grade equipment, there are options there for said videographer. Anyway, this guy comes up. Didn't know this dude from Adam, right? He decides that he was going to, he wanted to put gaff tape on top of the speaker with an attached microphone. So he first comes up, hey man, no introduction, just, hey man, I'm plugging into your system. Like, who are you? First of all. Second,
the janitor or the caterer.
I don't even know you. And then second, okay, so I understand you need a plug. We're here for, said couple. I want them to have the best from everybody. So cool, I got you. You can run a line directly into my mixer, or a line out. We can run a line out. That's how you do it most times, right? He's like, well, that's not the way we do it. We have to have multiple sources because we can't have just one source fail.
No, and I totally get that.
I get that too. I get that too. However, the second option I gave you, especially now, if you're running newer, if your DJ is running newer equipment, most of the newer, I would say mid to high level speakers have a mix out on the speaker. You don't even have to tap into the board anymore. There's a mix out directly on the speaker.
I didn't know that.
You know what I'm saying? So, of course, all the stuff that I run has mix out on it. I mean, not to say, I'm running the best, but I run decent stuff, right? Hey, man, 2 speakers, pick which one you want. But you're not going to tape with gaff tape. Oh, it's gaff tape. It's not going to leave anything. I can show you 3 pieces of equipment I have right now. The residue is left on it
yeah.
from gaff tape, so it's not 100%. Dude goes and tells the maitre d'. He goes and tells the wedding planner. He goes and tells
That he couldn't use gaff tape?
that I was being difficult. It's one of those things like, we don't have to make this a difficult situation. Like, I understand you have a need, but respect, just like I'm not going to come over and, hey, man, that's a pretty dope camera. Let me mess with it. Don't come over and just think that you're going to manhandle, someone else's equipment. This is my livelihood at this point. This is how I make my money. And, part of the appearance now for DJs or some DJs is, how does your stuff look?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we are in the cycle of things, and I take a lot of pride in how my stuff looks and how I look, so you're not going to come and put gaff tape on it because, one, why would we want to gaff tape
your
a
nice,
microphone
beautiful,
to a speaker? That's a horrible aesthetic look in the middle of your reception at the wherever we were at, the estate.
And I have to tell you that I would say that videographer is probably not the highest end videographer, most likely.
That's what I was
and
thinking.
and anyone who actually, but so, I totally get it.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate. And when I talk about photographers, right, and I'm blessed right now, and I think you may be. You probably, because you have a team, and so for you guys listening and watching, Toryn, he has a team of DJs. He also DJs himself, so he probably does a lot more events than I do. It's just me. I did kind of try the team thing about 3 years ago. It wasn't really for me, but when working with photographers, I'm always, or when I talk about the stories, I'm sure photographers have the same stories when they work with other videographers. Definitely. But with me, I'll get to the point where I talk about how to work with people. But I want to tell some stories as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Some of the stories that I have that are most aggravating when working with photographers is when they don't have a lot of equipment. And what I mean by that, they don't have a wide array of lenses.
Right.
Now, so
they're just kind of getting the same kind of shots, I guess.
Yeah, and
same position for shots.
So probably the most expensive lenses that we as videographers and photographers have are probably like the 7200, which is that long lens.
Yeah.
And so normally at ceremonies, you'll see the photographer either with like an 85 millimeter on or a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. And that is so they can be far back but still get those close shots.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I was working.
Not to interrupt you, but that would be the same kind of lens they would use in theory for maybe like a first dance where they don't have to be all up in the picture during the first dance. They can still get some of those shots from maybe the edge of the dance floor or on the perimeter or something, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And now the 7200, some photographers may not want to. I mean, they do have flash, but it's the aperture, which is basically how much light the lens lets in, is a 2.8 on the 7200. That's the lowest it goes. So they may want to use like an 85 or something because the aperture can go down to like 1.2 and stuff like that, which lets in more light. To the lens. So,
gotcha.
But now you actually worked this wedding with me. So you worked this wedding with me. The one I'm thinking about, there was a photographer there. Like
who shall remain nameless.
Yeah, who shall remain nameless. I don't even remember his name because, of course, like I would refuse to work with this guy ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, again, I would never.
Well, let's get to the story. I want to know who this was now.
Basically, the photographer had a 35 millimeter lens like the whole day.
That's like super close.
Yeah, it's a wide lens. And if you're using a full frame camera, which I use basically what you call like a crop sensor camera. I mean, it's really a 35 millimeters, really wide. Needless to say, during the vows, now I can see if you get in other parts. I mean, I'm using 3 cameras, but during the vows, I mean, this guy is just like this close to the couple while we're filming. And I'm like, the vows? I mean, he's like omnipresent.
Right.
Like he's in front of every camera at the same time. So I have no clean shot. So I say to him, I get that you have to get your shots, but I said, you don't have like a 70 to 200 you can use, especially during the vows. Like that's one of the most important parts of me. This is during the ceremony. I'm saying, I'm whispering to him, very nice. He said, don't you ever, that's what he turned to me, tell me what lens to use.
Seriously?
Yeah. So this was probably about 3-4 years ago. And so I said, well, listen, for the couple's sake, I said I always try to be nice, but for their video, I said I'm gonna have to ask you, do not step in front of this camera again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
In the nicest way possible. But
that's
he
what they're
knew I was
paying
meant
for,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would-
So I mean, I said just for the vows. I mean, they want to see each other for it. But needless to say, since then I've come up with some really good ways to kind of defuse those situations.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen yelling matches.
Yeah,
At weddings between vendors.
Yeah.
When I first started, like year 1, I got into one and I said I'll never happen again. We're actually really good friends.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
I don't think she would actually mind me telling it. I've only gotten to one yelling match at a wedding. It was my first year as a videographer, and I'll have to say it probably was me, because it wouldn't happen now because I have better communication skills, definitely less ego. When you're first starting,
you're
in
trying
the
to
industry,
prove a point.
you're trying to prove a point, and you think you're better than you are.
Yeah, definitely,
you are.
definitely.
Then I would say I was pretty wrong, and it was actually Dana Lee Jones.
Okay,
only
okay,
videographer.
yeah.
Photographer. I actually probably like yelled at during the wedding, yelled back, and then. But what was funny was, I called her.
All right. Like
after the wedding.
Okay.
Apologized.
Okay.
And for then on, she would recommend me for so many
Yeah,
weddings. I
yeah,
get recommended by DJs and photographers the most.
Yep. I mean, there are going to be people that you just may not click with, like the first time,
Yeah.
or, whatever. Just personalities are different. And like you said, everybody at a wedding has been hired to do their job, right? So whether you're the caterer, whether you're the planner, whether you're the DJ, photographer, whatever, like you're there to do your assigned job, and you want to do it to like the best of your ability.
But I think sometimes we get tunnel vision.
We do.
And we don't think about the other person.
We don't think about the whole spectrum. And
Yeah.
so it took me a few years in the game before I really, and I'll be honest, I went to a seminar, I went to a DJ conference up in North Carolina, and that was one of the things that they talked about. It was just kind of getting along with other vendors. And I think when somebody else broke it down to me, that's when it really clicked.
Yeah.
And I started thinking like, I'm a pretty good DJ, and, we run lights and we do this, and that's great. But, hey, if the photographer doesn't get all his shots during the first dance, or the videographer doesn't get enough footage of the mother-son, then we're all doing an injustice to the couple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I had started looking at it. And then when I would talk to clients now, or prospective clients, and we start talking about, hey, how long are we dancing, or introductions, things like that, I always think about, especially especially if Thomas is gonna be there, then I'm like, well, hey, listen, I want to make sure that Thomas gets enough, because I know your edits are gonna be dope, you know what I mean? So I want to make sure that we're like part of that, you know what I mean? Whatever photographer's there, I want to make sure they get great shots. So maybe they'll share them. Maybe they'll share them. I don't know. But again, it's a holistic thing, and it's not just I'm just worried about rocking the dance floor. It's a whole prelude music all the way through, the sparkler exit or whatever we're doing. And how do we all I've had cake people call me, hey, how do I get in? Can one of your guys come help me?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Can I borrow your dolly? Just all that kind of stuff, so it's all about getting along, man. Definitely.
And I think you really brought up things in full circle. I actually found what fell. My poster that was right there is the one that fell. My Guardians of the Galaxy poster. Something fell before we started the podcast, and I'm just looking up right now, and I'm seeing my favorite poster, my Guardians of the Galaxy,
which was a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, so
definitely.
So anyway, I'm sorry for that side note, but I think Groot. We're at I am Groot. Groot is actually right. Where's Groot?
Is he here?
Yeah, he's on the shelf. Up there. Yeah, he's right there at the top shelf. See his head.
I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. But I think we had a really good point of the podcast. Sorry about the scatterbrain right there.
Let me ask this one question,
go
though.
ahead.
Let me ask this one question. Because planners are so critical, or planners are critical to the overall day, let's say that. Do you think that there is a separate conversation or just a separate way in which you have to deal with planners?
Yeah, and so that's all. So the first point I was going to say, because you kind of brought it up and brought us to it, is that I think we can start talking about how to work with other vendors. And so let's start with planners.
Yeah.
But I think the main point I wanted to kind of bullet point what you said is, if you think about the event through everyone else's perspective, through the wedding planner's perspective, the DJ's perspective, the photographer's, through someone else's perspective, then it makes it a lot easier to work with your fellow vendors.
Right.
All right. So now let's go to wedding planners.
Okay.
Now, I have worked with
all of the best.
Yeah, I've worked with.
That's who Thomas is.
I wasn't gonna say. I was gonna say wedding planners at all different levels. That's what I was gonna say.
Well,
but I have worked with a lot
That
of great wedding planners as well, and they all have different personalities. And I will say, the planners in my experience that have been the hardest to work with, especially since I've been a little bit more established in the past few years, are planners who are just starting and they get this big wedding.
Oh yeah, they don't know.
It's really their first time.
Yeah.
I'm not. And sometimes I'm like okay, so they have like one of the I would say like top videographers, one of the top photographers, top DJs, right? And then they have this planner who's never done a wedding,
never done
and
of this scale.
Yeah, of this scale. Yeah. And I'm just like, how did that happen? But
because it's a friend of a friend.
Yeah, so that's a lot of times.
Or just that's where they, that's where they settled on. Hey, this is this. And then the planner went out and said, well, hey, I'm going to go get the top DJ or one of the top DJs, the top videographer.
Yeah, but a lot of times those planners, they don't have the connections at all. I show up and none of us have heard of them.
Other. Yeah. I agree.
And because a lot of times, like I said, for most of my weddings now, I work with the same people over and over, the same, not like the same one photographer. No, it's not. I'm sure. Well, like I said, I work probably with a lot of, because you do a lot more events,
right?
Than me. I'm doing like 20 to 30, but you're doing what 100 a year,
something like that.
Yeah, so like 100 a year. So of course, but my 20 to 30, I can kind of cherry pick the leads I get, and I'm like, okay, I want to work with this photographer on this one, or I don't want to work at this venue anymore.
I only do events with Thomas Vision.
I wish, but so. Sometimes we get to these weddings and those wedding planners who, and I guess they have a lot of pressure on them, of course, but a lot of times they're not as easy to work with. Like one wedding I did with a planner like this, they had her, now for this particular wedding, the photographer had never shot a wedding either. The planner was new as well. It was a planner, a team.
This was here in Atlanta?
Yeah, it was here in Atlanta. And the DJ I had never heard of either. So I was
his first wedding too, probably.
It could have been, but his audio was good. So that's all.
That's
his audio was good. So soon as I walk in, the planner tells me what to start shooting. As soon as I'm walking in, putting my equipment down,
like get the details first.
Oh yeah. So you probably want to shoot these from here, and I was just like, in the nicest way. So I'm always as nice as possible. Yeah, but one thing I think is the best thing when you're dealing with other vendors who may not be as friendly, or who are overstepping, is that you just set boundaries right away and you set expectations. Yeah. So I was very nice. I didn't say, "Do you know who I am?" Nothing like that. Yeah. I just said, "Hey." Very first, because they didn't even introduce themselves. Are you the videographer? Okay, so you start, and I was like, yeah. So I said, I said first, hey, how you doing? My name is Thomas. I filmed here lots of times. I said the way I work is, I kind of, and I've already discussed this with the couple. I kind of, film what I feel looks the best, and so I'm just kind of take care of things on my own. Right. But if I need anything, I'll definitely come to you. Right. If you need anything from me, from your portfolio, I said, I definitely can't film the whole wedding for you, but if there's some things that you want to highlight, that you think will be great, let me know, and then I can try to, get a few shots of those. So that's how I kind of handle things. Yeah. I try to handle things with niceness, and even now, I did a lot of out of state and and a few out of the country this year, and so I was working with, of course, new people that I've never seen before for a few of those. Yeah. Sometimes with the photographers, I do my same spiel every time. Yeah. I will message them through Instagram before the wedding, and just say, hey, I'm looking forward to working with you. It'll be my wife and I. Right. And sometimes when I get there, because I'm a videographer, no matter how nice I am, when I introduce, like I was doing this one where I can't say the state because people will know, but I'm filming the dress, right? I'm supposed to be there at a certain time. The photographer is supposed to be there an hour after me. They decided to come at the same time as me, and I'm filming the dress, and the photographer. So I'm here. The dress is on the wall right there, and the photographer comes and sits her stuff right in front of my camera while I'm filming. Like I'm actually I'm panning up. And so I say, I'm sorry. How are you doing? I sent you a message through, Instagram. I said, I was filming the dress. Oh, well, yeah, you'll get to do it once I'm done getting my lenses out. And I said, no. I said, well, first, I said, I was scheduled to be here
early
at this
time, right? Yeah.
And then you were scheduled to be here an hour later.
Yeah.
So I said, I would appreciate if you just don't encroach on my time
no doubt.
right now. And I said, I definitely won't on yours. I said, let's start things right and positive. I said, I want to be positive, right? So she said, okay. And it moved her stuff out of the way. Man. And that's pretty much how the day went. But I was just always nice because I didn't want, that's another thing. You don't want someone to steal energy from you, your positive energy
definitely
from you.
Definitely, yeah.
And so I just stayed nice.
Yeah.
I stayed nice the whole day. And I think if you treat everything nice, at the end of the day, she just came. She shook my hand, said it was nice working with me. I was nice all day, but I was firm when I needed my shots.
Right. Because have y'all worked together since or no?
Well, no. Well, this was another state.
Okay.
I can't say what state they're from. But no. And I was not tagged or anything, but I did tag them on everything because I don't hold grudges.
You can't hold grudges, I had a not similar, obviously, because I don't do, that. But I remember a few years ago, and this person is in our state, but I think we're really good friends, now. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and a few people know this story. Yeah. So she probably wouldn't mind. I hope not. But I remember I was doing a wedding up in, North Georgia area, I guess, north of the city. And for whatever reason, and again, this is kind of goes back to what we're talking about, with the gaff tape and all that. I get it. It's a wedding. I get it. Everybody's got equipment. Somewhere in the years of weddings or whatever, I guess it became okay that, whoever would stash their stuff behind the DJ's equipment. Yeah. And if we've got a table that we can stash that stuff up under, I think that's fine. Yeah. But I think as things have evolved, and guys kind of care about the way their things look aesthetically, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm somebody who takes that very seriously. I mean, I just do.
I mean, his stuff looks nice. I mean, I'll put some B-roll. I mean, normally don't see B-roll on podcasts. I got to put some B-roll of your setups. That's where things are, right? Yeah. And I remember one day I was, doing a wedding. My assistant and I had went to, get changed up, kind of, we came back into the ballroom and there was like a shopping cart behind my speaker. Like, and kind of like those shopping carts are like, I don't want to say it, that people have, like maybe they live in the city and they had the little wire shopping carts. Well, this shopping cart was a little broke down. Yeah. Like it had seen better days. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's been bad. They had it right by your speaker. Now,
right
was the speaker by your booth?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And, at the time we were using like the scrims and everything to kind of cover the speaker pole, so, I would maybe, maybe you could stash a book bag back there or maybe even a small camera bag.
Yeah, but not a shopping cart.
But a shopping cart, man. And I mean, and like the wheel was like, like
I just can imagine when the bride and groom did their room reveal and to see the shopping cart,
right? So I walk in the room and, nobody was in the room. So I immediately, I say to my assistant, I'm like, yo, like what is this shopping cart? Yeah. Like, whose shopping cart?
I've never seen a shopping cart in a wedding.
Cart. It was a shopping cart, man. Like it was a shopping cart. And so in comes the photographer, right? Yeah. And she's like, that's my shopping cart.
I wouldn't have even. I would have said, I'm sorry. This is my shopping cart.
She was just like,
and embarrassingly pushed it away.
Cart. I mean, like, she was like so upset about it. You know what I'm saying? And I just like, and I'm not gonna lie to you. The way I said whose shopping cart is this, in hindsight, probably was not the most.
No, but it's a shopping cart.
But it was a shopping cart. It was a shopping cart.
A shopping cart at a wedding. I'm sorry, guys.
It was a
like
shopping
this
cart.
is like shocking to me.
Not like a like what's this thing over here? Like a
little dolly. I have a little dolly, a wagon.
It was
yeah.
a shopping
It was
cart.
a shop. I get it. It was a Kroger or Publix.
No sponsor. Dollar General. Yeah. It was a shopping cart.
Yeah, shopping cart.
And I mean, she got that thing and wheeled it off on one good wheel. I mean, she had an attitude like the whole night. And I was just like, look, I'm sorry.
Have you ever worked with that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have. And she's a great photographer.
Okay.
And she's a really I would even say she's definitely, a friend / friender at this point. Like I'll refer her and everything,
But she has dropped the shopping cart.
I'm not gonna say that because then people would know who that person was.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would say that the shopping cart works for her.
Yeah.
That's cool. But I think she has recognized that maybe I don't need to put my shopping cart behind the DJ stuff, at least when Exquisite Sounds is there.
Well, I think the cat's out of the bag because I've done over, I'm not sure, maybe 200 weddings now, and I have not worked with a photographer with a shopping cart yet. So there's probably only one out there. So I'm very sorry.
She's a great photographer, though. She's a great photographer.
You're great
but that shopping cart, dog, I was like...
But now, because this is about, I mean, it is so fun telling these stories, but how did you get to a point where you are friends with her now and work things out?
Well,
what happened?
I did apologize because, I mean, in hindsight, the way I said it, I mean, I don't want to say on your podcast because it probably was a little rude, to be honest with you. But I was in such a disbelief of like,
I'm in disbelief.
Who has a shopping cart
right now?
Stuff?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I definitely tried to apologize then.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm sorry.
You didn't like kick the
bad.
shopping cart
no,
over.
No,
okay.
no, I didn't do that. But I did was like, what,
Yeah.
But I did apologize immediately. And, she kind of had an attitude.
Yeah.
It was cool. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I was rude. But
moving forward,
like, I think I can't remember if like I saw her again.
Yeah.
But somehow between then and the next time, like, we kind of got like, hey, you know what? We're cool.
I'm gonna be on Instagram later today, just looking to see photography.
I will tell you. Listen, I will tell you offline who it is.
no. I actually want to figure out on my own
see
if I bump into someone with a shopping cart.
She's cool. She's mad cool. You know what I'm saying? She's mad cool. Like, I mean, anytime I see her now, it's like, it's all love. I mean, and I'll be honest, she still has a shopping cart. You know what I'm saying? And we'll make a couple jokes about the shopping cart. Yeah. Last wedding that she was at, I helped her bring the shopping cart in, but she didn't put it behind my stuff.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Just being considerate to other vendors.
And I totally will refer her. I mean, she's a great photographer. You know what I mean? And she has a great spirit about herself. She just had a shopping cart.
She just had a shopping cart. But you learn to work past it.
And
I think that's the whole the point of kind of that story. Is that you like the way you approach the situation could have been better. Oh, yeah, and so that was one thing. Like when I said, and the reason why I mentioned Dana because I just believe she's an amazing photographer. So that's why I said her by name, and it was my fault. Yeah, if it was her fault, I wouldn't have named her. Right. But it was my fault the way I went and approached her, and so I called her, like I said, after the wedding, apologized, and I think if a lot more people were able to apologize. Some people cannot admit they're wrong at all. And if you do something wrong, I think that you should be able to say.
Oh, yeah.
But some people cannot even see. And I really believe that's part of a denial thing and maybe a self-esteem thing as well. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I'm kind of thinking that may have something to do with not being able to see when you're wrong. Yeah. But I can see when I'm wrong in a lot of cases. My wife may say, not as many cases as she would like.
I know
but I'm trying. But as far as wedding goes, if I see I'm wrong in a situation, I definitely always try to apologize. Sometimes even when I'm not wrong,
right?
I apologize.
Even if
in
it's
a situation
perceived that you were kind of like, just like to clear the air. Yeah.
Sometimes I apologize now too much. Like there's another wedding planner I like. I'm mentioning her. I've always had a great relationship with her, but like Jillian of One Touch.
Oh yeah, I love Jillian.
She always tells me that Thomas, stop apologizing so much. Like
she never tells me that.
Oh, she never. Oh,
never tells me that.
But she always says, Thomas, stop saying you're sorry. So much. I apologize. I'll bump or I'll just cut her off by mistake. Oh, I'm sorry, Thomas, stop apologizing. And so I may apologize too much, but I'm all about being firm.
Yeah.
Setting expectations. But being nice, I think that your personality is what really going to take you places.
Yeah.
rather than just talent.
Yeah, or equipment.
Or equipment. Yeah,
I agree with
it's
you
really
100%.
relationships,
I agree with you.
and
Especially in this game.
Yeah.
Especially in the wedding game. It's you're dealing with somebody's most personal day.
yeah,
You know, it's some of it is what do you have, you know, in some degree, but when you're dealing with like photographer, your DJ, your planner, your videographer, it's I don't really care if I don't really care if you have great flower. I don't care if you have great flowers and a horrible personality because you got great flowers.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's going to be there. But if you're my planner and I'm working with you, then it's like, I got to deal with you.
Yeah.
You know, I got to work with you hand in hand. So yeah, I feel you, man. So it's important. Definitely important.
try not to let people steal your positivity. You may work with a vendor who, no matter what you do, they are not going to see things your way, and they're not going to kind of bend to compromise with you. So just stay positive, do the best that you can in that situation. And then if you're wrong in some situations, even if you're only partly wrong, don't be afraid or be against apologizing so you can kind of move forward with things. I also think being firm with someone when you meet them and setting expectations of that working relationship will also help you get further. And I think that's it. I think we had another good podcast today. What do you think?
This is great, man. This is great.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed listening in today, consider subscribing to the podcast. See you next time.